Hello and welcome back to the Stronghold. I'm the Magi, and today we are going to be taking a look at a Tarkir Dragonstorm's limited environment and helping you formulate a plan so that you are ready for the quick draft season kicking off on April 17th. But before we get into all that, my Amazon Prime members, listen up. You have a free Twitch sub burning a hole in your digital pocket every month. And you can use that to support the Stronghold and fuel the creation flames of more budget magic content. It's a quick and easy way to make a difference without spending anything extra. And if you don't already have Amazon Prime, did you know you could get up to 6 months absolutely free? I mean, why would we not check this out? Through the link in the description. I mean, let's face it, Amazon has a lot of resources, but they're not going to use it to make budget-oriented Magic the Gathering content unless you send it my way. Now, what were we talking about? Oh yeah, right. And guys, one more quick bit of channel business. We are going to be selecting a winner for the 2024 free-to-play account giveaway. More than likely on this coming Monday. That's going to be the 21st. The entry is over on Patreon, so don't miss out on the opportunity, guys. All right, so as we begin to talk about this Storm of Dragon limited environment, there's one thing that we really need to understand at a fundamental level, and I apologize to those out there that this is going to seem really obvious and redundant, but I guarantee there's going to be people watching this video that are new enough to Magic in general or have only ever played on the Arena digital environment that this is going to be a relevant teaching moment. If you look at the back of a Magic card, and I know that seems weird to those that play in a digital environment, but yes, these are based on real cards that have backings. And when you look at that backing, you're going to see a 5-point color wheel, if you would, with white most often demonstrated at the top. And when we talk about the two color pairings, whether it's for deck construction or things like dual lands, we tend to talk about color pairs. Those are described as enemy color pairs, those that go across that circle, or ally color pairs, two colors that are next to each other in that color wheel. Enemy here is shown on the left-hand side of the screen. Allies are shown on the right. This is going to be really important as we move forward. All right, now that we got that groundwork laid, Tarkir is a 3-color set that is built around what most people refer to as the wedges. This is 2 enemy color pairs combined with 1 allied colored pair. If you see, this particular example is what we call Mardu, where it is the red and white and black and white enemy color pairs, and of course that gives you the black-red allied color pair. That also means that this 3-color set functionally only has 5 archetypes, the previously mentioned Mardu, and if you were to turn that triangle so that it pointed at different things around the circle, you would also discover Abzan, Temur, Jeskai, and Sultai, not necessarily in that order. But big deal, how much is that really going to impact the limited environment and how we should approach drafting it? Well, the reality is more than you probably think. If we look at a set like Bloomborough, monocolor and 4 and 5 color decks are pretty much outliers. There's those tiny little slivers at the top center of the graph that you can probably barely see at all. And together they represent about 1.5% of all drafted decks. That big giant chunk, of course, in red is your 2-color decks, making up roughly 2/3 of your limited environment. And then of course the remaining yellow wedge is your 3-color decks, making up a little more than 1/3 of your total limited environment. this is kind of your baseline of what you expect from a typical set that is built around 10 two-color pairs. Then, as contrast, when we take a look at a three-color set like Dragonstorm, things really shift around. The two-color decks drop down to a meager 5% of the meta, whereas three-color decks take over nearly 2/3 of the total limited environment. So far in the early environment, we're seeing 62.7% are three-color decks, including splashes. Then the one color, 4 and 5 collectively make up roughly the remaining 1/3 of the environment. So really a big deal. The expectation here is that you are going to draft a three-color deck in some form as opposed to a two-color deck. And if you do end up drafting a two-color deck, you're going to be in the vast majority. And really the underlying message here is also don't be surprised if you end up in some sort of 4 or 5 color monstrosity. The fixing is actually pretty good. It is doable, but should not be taken lightly and needs to be done so with caution. This three-color reality of the Dragonstorm is really good news for us looking to play on a budget, because often these lower rarity three-color cards are balanced to be a little more powerful than average in order to justify the 3 mana costs. Now, secondly, Tarkir is what we refer to as a synergy set. And again, this is good news for us budget players, because let's say you draft a couple B-grade cards. If you get them onto the battlefield, because of a high synergy amount, they are going to actually play more like A-grade cards. And of course, as value players, sometimes we're actually drafting C-grade cards. And again, the good news is multiples on the board synergizing together will give you that lifting effect like a tide. And those C-grade cards will often function more like B-grade cards, giving you a potentially more powerful deck for lower grade cards. The bad news is this is also going to be true for our opponents within this limited environment. This also means that you can't rely on the AI and just draft highly rated cards. You really need to make sure that you are getting as much synergy as possible within your limited deck especially. This set focuses on 5 different keyword mechanics, one for each of the expected deck archetypes. And the wonderful news here is each one of those synergizes pretty well with at least 2 others. Alright, so let's talk strategy, and this is normally the point where I talk about those 3 or so good decks, the 4 kind of tier 2 bad but still playable, and the 2 or 3 ugly decks that we want to stay away from. But when there's really only 5 archetypes to the limited environment, this can become kind of a self-defeating behavior. So instead, we're going to talk about a methodology of how to draft this set rather than specific archetypal goals. So with that in mind, in pack 1, aside from those value pick rares or very good uncommons and things like that, we tend to draft early regardless of whether we're going to play them. I really want you guys to try and look for and settle into the open enemy color pair. For the rest of this video, I am going to assume that black-white was the open pair here, and that's what we're going to be building the rest of the conversation on. So again, try and go for that open enemy color pair, and try and resist the urge to get into an ally color pair here, no matter how open it seems or how tempting it is. More often than not, it's not going to work out in this particular draft environment. It's not impossible, it's just much harder and more unlikely. Pack 2 is where a lot of drafters run into problems, and most of them don't even understand the mechanical reason why, particularly if you have never physically drafted, say, in your local game store. If you've only drafted digital, this is a little less intuitive and less obvious. You see, even when you're drafting digitally, we have a virtual table. And during pack 1, we are passing packs clockwise, or more often referred to as pass to your left. Obviously, in a physical store, at a physical table, this is really, really obvious. But then pack 2 comes around, and it reverses the flow of the packs around the table to a counterclockwise, or often referred to as pass to the right. And this is why a lot of times in pack 2, it seems like one or more of your really open colors all of a sudden dries up to almost nothing. And a lot of people misinterpret that as a shift to the way the table is drafting as opposed to the order in which you're seeing them draft. And a lot of people make the mistake of jumping colors or jumping archetypes. And this can be a particularly detrimental mistake in a limited environment with so few viable archetypes. So instead, in pack 2, when one of our either white or black, or perhaps even both, starts to dry up, we want to focus on one of the two colors that unifies with that to create one of those clan archetypes. Green would pair with white-black to give you Abzan. Red would pair with white-black to give you Mardu. And usually by pick 4 or 5, perhaps 6, you're really going to see one of these be much more open. And that's where you want to focus your picks. And once you've established which one of these it's going to be, you kind of want to stick with that. Perhaps most importantly in pack 2 is what we don't want to pick. Since blue does not pair to create a clan in Khans of Tarkir with white and black, we pretty much want to ignore that color no matter how tempting or bomberific it seems, aside from those value-oriented only picks that we really don't have any intention of playing in our deck. This way, when the pack flow reverses again in pack 3, we're going to start seeing that original allied color pair and focus on picks there in whatever of the two colors we selected in pack 2. And we very critically want to avoid the color we didn't pick and the off color for our choice. In this case, I want to assume that red was the more open color over green. So in pack 3, we are very systematically going to be avoiding green and blue, aside from those value-oriented picks that we have really no intention of putting in our deck. Pack 3 is where we want to be making those high synergy mechanical picks for our given clan, as well as those one or two adjacent archetypes, picking up a monocolor card that is adjacent in its archetypal mechanics. Very good choices here. Good players in this particular draft archetype prioritize color fixing in pack 1. As value players, we don't really have the room to do that. So instead, we pick them up late here in pack 3, where they are low opportunity cost. In some cases, however, that means we're going to have to do without color fixing. So again, I want to reiterate, I'm not going to make specific archetypal recommendations here, but there are 3 archetypes here that convert very well or integrate into existing budget strategies. For instance, Mardu is very close to existing Boros token decks that we have been playing as budget players literally for years now. Similarly, Abzan goes very well with existing green-white +1/+1 counters decks. And of course, Teamers 4 or greater power integrates very nicely into existing budget decks, including the red-green starter. With this in mind, selecting red-white and splashing black for Mardu, or going green and black splashing white for counters could have very strong effects on your ability to play budget decks. Similarly, going, say, a green-blue splash red is a great pathway to teamer for budget players. On the flip side, the same cannot be true for the other two archetypes. Jeskai and their cast 2 spells per turn is not really an analog for the existing prowess decks out there. And similarly, Sultai's graveyard control style really doesn't exist as a budget deck at this point. So there it is, guys. That is my general plan of how to draft this set as a value-oriented budget player. If you're looking for more data-oriented and specific archetypal suggestions, that article has gone live over on my Patreon for all supporting members. Be sure to check that out. And of course, I want to take this opportunity to thank my supporting patrons, because being a small content creator comes with big bills. And I just couldn't do everything that I do without their monthly support. Thanks, guys. And of course, if you enjoyed this video and found it helpful in your arena experience, we have a few suggestions for what you could watch next.